Hey guys, how's it going? My name's Joe. Welcome to my camera being completely off because I changed my damn TV out. Oh, that's fun. Anyway, recap episode number 104. Recap ESPN National Hockey Night, Metal Morph, GP-1 Part 2, Micro Machines, and NFL Quarterback Club. Let's get started. First up, NHL International Hockey Night. This game had one thing going for it that I liked. It was the horizontal view. I do not care for the vertical views on sports games. I prefer like Tecmo Bowl and NBA Jam. I don't like looking. I don't know. It feels better horizontal view. Graphics on this were okay. The sound was what you expected out of it. No music, of course, during the game. The gameplay is where it faltered. It felt very sluggish on the movement, and it was just it felt. I've played a couple hockey games where I've said it feels like you're on ice, which I guess you're supposed to, but I've seen hockey players on ice, and those dudes are pretty nimble. This one didn't feel like that. It just felt slow, very, very slow. And it seemed like it was very, very difficult to get the computer to switch your characters to the guy closest to the puck. And it had those shortcomings. I've played better. It wasn't great. It was a hockey game. It was functional. Not worth playing, in my opinion. Giving this one a thumbs down. It's going to be fast like that. Next up, Metal Morphs. This is actually kind of an interesting one. So the graphics are okay. It plays a lot like an original Contra game as far as it's basically just a run and gun. You run around killing everything. The big shtick of this is you are a liquid cyborg, so you can like morph through pipes to get to different areas in the level. There are a bunch of different weapons upgrades that only last so long. It's one hit deaths in this game, which sucks. Between the platforming segments, there is a on rails shooter segment where you're flying your spaceship. And there I'm in my morph stage. You can see you turn into a puddle of liquid. You can't be hurt when you're liquid, but you also can't hurt enemies. The game's not great, but I can respect what they did, and it was actually a pretty entertaining to play game. I gave this one a thumbs up. It's not going to blow your socks off by any stretch of the imagination, but I did enjoy it enough to say, like, I think at least, if you like running guns, then you might enjoy this. It was an interesting game. Go give it a look. Next up, GP-1 Part 2. GP-1 was a racing game. GP-2 is the same damn racing game. The graphics arguably are better in GP2 here, as far as like the sprites are a little more detailed, the background's a little bit more of something. There's like the mountains, and you can see like the stadiums, and so there's more to look at. But visually, I think I actually preferred the look of 1 because instead of just grass next to you, the stands were like next to the track, and so it looked like you were moving faster. There was a better feel of speed there. And I think that even though the shading and detail on these sprites is a little better, I think the first one actually looked better. The control felt pretty much the same. The tracks are hard as balls. It's definitely a skill issue on my end. Like, it's okay. If you like motorcycle racing, this kind of falls in the same category as every other simulation racing game I've played. If you like Formula 1 racing, you'll probably like that game. But if you like motorcycle racing, you'll probably like this game. I didn't care for it, though. I didn't really have fun with it. It was a steep learning curve on figuring out when exactly you had to brake versus let go of the gas versus pull that hard turn. Like, I don't know. I prefer arcade racing, where it's a little bit more grab and go, and you're able to do well from the stick, as opposed to actually having to, skill up. I gave it a thumbs down. I don't think it's necessarily worth going out and finding. That said, there are very few motorcycle racing games on the Super Nintendo that I've run across. So, again, if you're into a motorcycle racing, this is probably one of your few choices. Next up, a game that I enjoyed and played with my wife on stream, but she did not particularly enjoy it, was Micro Machines Racing. Now, the two-player race is interesting, is that you see that bar on the left with the blue and red. Every time one person gets so far ahead, it stops the race. The person earns a point on that bar, and then it puts you back next to each other, and you start again. In the 4-player race, it is actually just a normal race. And I assume it would also do that with the 3-player race, though we didn't play 3 or 4. I played single player to actually see what multiple cars are, and yeah, 4-player race is just a normal race. I think it's cute. It's really interesting. I loved Micro Machines as a kid. It plays well. It plays fast. There you get to control a bunch of different little Micro Machines. You got boats and helicopters and race cars and sports cars. And there's a character select at the front where you pick the kid that you are who's racing the car, which I think is pretty funny. And then we went and looked at the end. We looked at Micro Machines 2, which did not get a U.S. release, but it released in PAL regions. And they actually did the same thing with the character selection. The kids are there again, but they're actually adults this time, which I thought was really funny, and I'm kind of surprised they didn't release that. But yeah, I liked Micro Machines. I think it's a 4-player game. It'd be really good. You ought to give that a look up. I really enjoyed it. Check that one out. And last up, NFL Quarterback Club. This is a football game, big shocker. And it does have standard football in it, which I think I get to near the end of this video, which is standard Madden-style vertical football. Nothing spectacular about that. The reason NFL Quarterback Club stands out at all is you get a pick from all these different quarterbacks of the 90s who were famous, along with it has a create your own quarterback. And you compete in these different skill challenges. Right here, you're trying to hit these targets for points. There's a challenge where it's like throw the ball the farthest. There's one where you are trying to run like an obstacle course. So I thought it was interesting. I like the idea of breaking it up and putting that in there. I think it would be really neat if that was like took place like at the end of every period of the standard game to like break up the normal football play, but it doesn't. It was fun. I enjoyed this part of it, like trying to game the skill section. And you see at this point I got frustrated now. I was just loading save states because it's pretty hard to get down. And other than that, it's just football, and I didn't particularly care for the football part, and so I don't think it's worth playing. I don't think it's worth playing just for this section of it. This is a nice diversion, but it's a diversion for about 20 to 30 minutes tops, and then you're just left with a regular football game. So that's it. We got 2 thumbs up. Metal Morphs, which is okay, but it's not going to like blow anybody's mind. And then we got Micro Machines, which is fine. I enjoyed it. Again, that is a racing game, not going to be for everybody, so there's that. But that's it, guys. Number 104, another 5 games down. So I appreciate you guys who watch us still and who check us out on YouTube and on Twitch. I appreciate you guys. And that's it. We'll see you in, a couple of weeks when I get around to recap 105. But yeah, thanks a lot.